The Chicago Bears are finally starting to look like a team that believes it can win every Sunday. After racking up 3 straight victories, confidence is high in the Windy City, and now the attention turns to the upcoming clash against the New Orleans Saints at Soldier Field. It's been a full month since the Bears played in front of their home crowd, and with the Saints limping into town with a shaky record, this is exactly the kind of game that could either solidify a playoff push or derail all the momentum that's been building. The last time the Bears played in Chicago, it was Week 3 against the Cowboys. Since then, they've been bouncing across the country, playing the Raiders, taking a bye, battling the Commanders under the lights, and now finally getting back to the home turf before hitting the road again to face Baltimore and Cincinnati. It's been a brutal stretch, schedule-wise. One home game in nearly 2 months? That's rough. But now comes a moment to reset, to defend Soldier Field, and to do it against a Saints team that's trying to stay alive. At the time of this preview, the Bears were listed as 4.5-point favorites, down slightly from an earlier 5.5. The total for the game is hovering around 46.5 points. But let's take a deeper dive into why the Bears are being taken seriously here. First, this offense has quietly climbed to 10th in scoring across the league, averaging just over 25 points per game. That's a significant leap forward, especially considering the questions surrounding this unit earlier in the season. No one would have guessed they'd be top 10 in points by mid-season, but here we are. Now, the defense still has some cleaning up to do. They sit at 27th in points allowed, but context is important. That ranking is heavily skewed by the blowout loss to the Lions where they gave up over 50 points. If you take that game out of the equation, the defensive numbers start to look a lot more respectable. They've held Minnesota to 27, Dallas to just 14, and kept both the Raiders and Commanders to under 25. Those are results you can work with. But the real story of this Bears resurgence has been turnovers. The Bears are currently tied for first in turnover margin at +8, which is wild when you remember how careless they were with the football just a few weeks ago. It all shifted during that game against Dallas. Something clicked. Since then, they've forced at least 3 turnovers in each game, and they've done a much better job protecting the football themselves. That's how you win in the NFL. You win on third down, you win the turnover battle, and you win in the red zone. The Bears have quietly been solid in all those areas. They're getting off the field on defense, converting when it matters on offense, and keeping their composure when the field shortens. The Saints, on the other hand, have not found that kind of rhythm. They're sitting at 28th in scoring, managing less than 19 points per game, and they're 25th in scoring defense, giving up nearly 27. That's a rough combo. They've been decent in the turnover department, +4 on the season, but they're not doing well on third downs. 21st in offensive third down percentage, and 24th on defense. That's where they're getting crushed. Key downs. Red zone execution has also been an issue for New Orleans. They rank 29th in red zone touchdown percentage on offense and 24th on defense, allowing touchdowns on 2/3 of opponents' trips inside the 20. Meanwhile, the Bears have hovered around league average in the red zone, converting touchdowns on 57% of their opportunities. That number has dipped slightly the last few weeks as they've settled for more field goals than they'd like, but it's still a manageable number, especially when you're playing a team like the Saints that struggles so much in that area. Injury reports are something to monitor heading into Sunday. DJ Moore was listed as it did not participate in the team's estimated practice report after their Monday night game. There wasn't an official practice due to the short turnaround, but Moore is one of several names to watch closely. Grady Jarrett is another, with speculation swirling about a minor knee procedure, though he hasn't been placed on injured reserve, so there's still hope he could be back soon. Jonah Jackson is dealing with an ankle injury. Cairo Santos is managing a thigh issue on his kicking leg, and linebacker Noah Sue is in concussion protocol. On the flip side, Austin Booker and Travis Homer returned to full practice but haven't been activated from injured reserve yet. The Bears have until Saturday afternoon to decide on their status. New Orleans has its own injury concerns. Alvin Kamara didn't practice with an ankle injury, and unlike Chicago, the Saints did hold an actual practice. Chris Olave was limited with a hip issue, and cornerback Alani Taylor was also limited with a knee. Starting defensive back Isaac Yadam did not practice due to a hamstring, and that's a notable loss for a secondary that already ranks in the bottom third of the league in several key categories. Let's talk quarterbacks. Caleb Williams is the headliner, and he's been steady, if not spectacular. He's currently throwing for over 235 yards per game, and he's been connecting on big plays consistently, 17 passes of 20 yards or more so far this season. On the other side, Spencer Rattler has done a nice job managing the game. He's been accurate, particularly on short and intermediate throws, and he's limited turnovers, which is a big deal for a young quarterback. He's only connecting on 6 explosive passes this season, though, and that's where the gap really shows between him and Caleb. Rattler is doing the little things right, but Caleb is pushing the ball downfield and generating chunk plays that change the flow of games. The coaching matchup is an intriguing one. Both head coaches are in their first seasons, Ben Johnson for the Bears and Kellen Moore for the Saints. Johnson came into the year with more hype, and so far, he's delivered. He's finding ways to scheme open receivers, dialing up creative runs, and getting his quarterback into rhythm early in games. Kellen Moore has shown some flashes too, particularly in how he's helped Spencer Rattler stay composed, but it's clear Johnson's group is playing with more identity. When it comes to skill position groups, the Bears probably have the edge, but the Saints are closer than you might think. Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed are legitimate threats at receiver, and Juwan Johnson has quietly been more productive than any Bears tight in this year. Alvin Kamara, even on a bum ankle, can change a game in one snap. But with DJ Moore, Swift coming off a breakout game, and a few young weapons stepping up, you'd still lean Chicago. Up front, the Bears' offensive line has started to gel. Theo Benedict looks like a legit upgrade at left tackle, and Darnell Wright has been a force in the run game. The Saints have a solid unit, too. Kelvin Banks has impressed as a rookie, Trevor Penning is finding his place, and Talys Fuaga is holding it down on the right side. Overall, both units are serviceable, but the Bears have been getting more push lately, especially on outside runs and toss plays. Defensively, New Orleans still brings the heat on the line. Cameron Jordan isn't the dominant force he once was, but he's still disruptive. Chase Young being back in the mix gives them a dynamic pass rusher, and they've got solid production inside as well. That front four is the heart of their defense. Linebackers are closer in comparison. Demario Davis is a beast, even at 36, but the Bears duo of TJ Edwards and Tremaine Edmonds is starting to look like one of the better linebacker tandems in the NFC. The edge goes to Chicago there, slightly. In the secondary, the Bears are really starting to turn heads. Jaquan Brisker's interception last week was a game-changer, and rookie Tariq Stevenson continues to impress despite a couple rookie mistakes. If Alani Taylor can't go for New Orleans, that's a big blow to their already thin coverage unit. And special teams? The Bears probably take that too, even if the kickoff coverage was shaky last week. Jake Moody looked solid filling in, and the Saints' punting unit has been near the bottom of the league. So now we're looking at a Bears team that's more complete, more confident, and playing better situational football. But this isn't a team that can afford to overlook anyone. The Saints may be 1-5, but they've been competitive. They nearly upset Arizona, pushed San Francisco to the edge, and gave Buffalo all it could handle late into the fourth quarter. This isn't a walkover, and if the Bears aren't locked in, they could find themselves in another tight one heading into the final minutes. For the Bears to keep this momentum going and avoid the kind of trap game that derails promising seasons, it's all about execution, composure, and energy. Starting with Caleb Williams, the goal this week should be to get him into a rhythm early. You could see it last Monday night against Washington. When he's throwing on time and hitting his spots, this offense hums. There were a few misfires in the first quarter, one noticeable one to Zaccheaus where they weren't on the same page. But overall, Caleb looked confident early. Things got a bit uneven in the second and third quarters, but he closed the game strong. That's encouraging, but now the focus should be on putting together a more complete performance from start to finish. This isn't just about winning this game. It's about building the kind of quarterback habits that carry over in November and December when playoff races heat up. At Soldier Field, with the crowd behind him and the comfort of home after a long road stretch, Caleb has a great opportunity to put together his most efficient outing yet. Helping him do that will be Ben Johnson, who's quietly orchestrating one of the most creative offensive systems in the NFC. Last week, we saw Johnson adjust in the run game, leaning heavily into outside zone concepts, toss plays, and pulling guards to take advantage of the perimeter. It worked. DeAndre Swift exploded for over 7 yards per carry and had a touchdown reception that reminded everyone how dangerous he can be in space. Johnson has found something that works, especially with how well Darnell Wright and Theo Benedict have been sealing the edges. This isn't about abandoning the inside runs entirely, but it's clear that getting this offense into space is unlocking a new level of explosiveness. If they stick with it, Swift can keep stacking big games, and the play-action game for Caleb will only get more lethal. One player who absolutely needs to see the field more is Luther Burden. The rookie made the most of his limited snaps last week, leading all receivers in yardage despite playing just 15 snaps. That's not a coincidence. Every time he's on the field, the defense has to account for him, and more often than not, he's open. He's not just some gadget guy either. His route running has come a long way, and he's shown he can separate with technique, not just athleticism. Right now, Zaccheaus is getting the bulk of the reps as the veteran presence in that spot, but it's time to shift the balance. Burden needs more opportunities. Even if it starts by bringing it down to a 70-30 split, the Bears need to start moving toward making him a core piece of this offense. Especially with DJ Moore's status still in question, this could be the week Burden gets a true showcase. He's earned that chance. And speaking of DJ Moore, if he can't go, that changes the entire dynamic. He's been the security blanket and explosive threat in this passing game. Without him, there's going to be even more pressure on guys like Swift, Cole Kmet, and Burden to produce. It's also going to require even more from Caleb, who will have to trust his reads and timing rather than leaning on DJ to bail him out in critical spots. This is where a quarterback matures, when he has to win without his top guy. The Saints' defense, while flawed, is still led by a coordinator in Brandon Staley who knows how to disguise coverages and bring pressure. Caleb will need to be sharp. He'll need to diagnose things quickly and get the ball out before the rush can get home. The offensive line has been playing better, but the Saints' front isn't soft. If Caleb starts hot and stays on schedule, this could be a game where he really shows his growth. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Chicago Bears. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In a move that has sent shockwaves through the sports world, whispers are now swirling around the Bears' locker room after head coach Ben Johnson announced his departure from the team. Sources close to the organization suggest that Johnson's decision, although officially described as mutual, could be the tip of a much larger iceberg. The timing of the announcement, coming just as the team seems to be finding its rhythm, has left fans and insiders speculating wildly about what really happened behind closed doors. Rumors are already pointing fingers at internal tensions. Some suggest that disagreements with the front office over recruitment strategies and player management may have played a role. Others hint that Johnson, known for his fiery sideline energy and unorthodox tactics, might have felt constrained by the traditionalist approach of the Bears management. One unnamed source even mentioned creative differences in the locker room as a possible catalyst for his exit. Fans have flooded social media with their own theories. Could a bigger club be courting Johnson, ready to swoop in and offer him a project with more freedom? Or is this the beginning of a quiet rebuild within the Bears organization, one that might see a surprising internal promotion? While the team has yet to comment on potential successors, speculation is already rife, with names of assistant coaches and former stars thrown into the rumor mill. What's undeniable is the aura of uncertainty now hovering over the Bears. Johnson's tenure, marked by a mix of bold plays, occasional brilliance, and some heartbreaks, will not be easily forgotten. Analysts are debating how his departure could reshape the team's strategy, from drafting decisions to on-field dynamics, and whether the locker room will respond positively to the change or fracture under the pressure. For now, the sports world waits with bated breath. The departure of a head coach is always more than just a change of staff. It's a signal that the winds may be shifting. And if the rumors are to be believed, the next chapter for both Ben Johnson and the Bears could be filled with drama, surprise, and perhaps a little chaos, exactly the kind that fuels endless speculation and, of course, endless headlines. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Chicago Bears, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.